Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. I decided to treat you all to a view of the street because it's snowing. Now, for those of you that know Silverlight, I live in Canada. You might be saying, what's the big deal? It's snowing, it's Canada. And you'd be right. But the interesting thing is, I got one of those "this is 2 years ago" messages on Facebook where it shows a photo that you took 2 years ago. And it looks a little bit the same. I think 2 years ago there was a little bit more snow, but functionally it's the exact same picture. The snow dusting on the ground, the snowflakes flying through the air, no difference. Last year was a very dry winter. We didn't get a lot of snow in. And this is where we get a lot of people freaking out. Oh my goodness, climate change is happening. It's so horrible, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm not insulting the theory of climate change. I think it is a good theory. I think, honestly, we need to stop messing about and actually doing some things to clean up our planet. Because if I commission 10,000 studies on something, it doesn't do a darn thing to help the planet. Quite the opposite. All that paper, all that energy, all that electricity is now going into basically say, hey, we screwed up with the planet. But I'm not here to debate climate change. I want to debate how people perceive it. Every time that there isn't a snow in late November, early December, people start panicking that it's the beginning of the end. It's not. And I think it's foolish to even entertain the thought of the beginning of the end. Do you know, what was it, 75 million years ago when the dinosaurs were around, there was 3 times as much carbon in the atmosphere as there is now. Was everything extinct when the dinosaurs were around? We had megafauna. We had trees that the trees of today couldn't even dream of catching up to because they had to provide food for, your brontosaurus, for your not for your tyrannosaurus, indirectly for your tyrannosaurus. Because if you get no food, you don't eat, you starve. Different world. Climate change happens, but it takes place over decades, centuries. You don't just wake up one day and find yourself in the world of Soylent Green. Climate change theory has been proven wrong a number of times. Remember when the ice caps were supposed to be melted by 2012? Yeah, we still got ice caps. I will entertain the thought of them melting because that's what the evidence seems to show, but it's going to take a long, long time. People are reactionary. It's how we were programmed. We are basically a savanna ape. Little smarter than most other apes, but unfortunately, we still have the idea that we're lying down in the dirt, trying to avoid being seen by, a tiger or whatever sort of predator is there this particular day. And that's when it pays to recognize these patterns. And on an individual level, on a subconscious level, we still function at that mental capacity. For example, you're walking down the street to work or just whatever reason you're walking down the street, and you hear, pow, something goes off in the background. Everybody does the same thing. They kind of duck a little and they look around. They're trying to identify the threat. That's what our brains are trying to figure out. The environment has changed, And we need to figure out what changed in the environment so we can react. Was it a volcano? Was it a meteor? Was it Billy who's screwing around with the bushes and accidentally snapped a twig? We don't know until we find it out. And this is the problem with almost any theory. Mentally, we're very advanced. Physical bodies, not really quite so advanced. We like to think we are the apex predator, the pinnacle of evolution. Realistically, physiologically, the only thing we can do better than most animals is to throw things. Whether it's a spear, whether it's a javelin, whether it's just a rock. That's what we learn to do that the other animals mostly haven't learned to do. A cat, big cat, let's say, a leopard or something, coming after you, you pick up a rock, you hurl it at the cat, you miss, but the same token, the cat starts to get worried because the cat doesn't have the ability to control its environment. Humans have a limited degree of control over our environment. We know, hey, dumping all this garbage in the Pacific Ocean leads to having a big Pacific junk pile. But we're also able to change our environment in good ways. Those people who self-funded and bought a garbage trawler and they pull back hundreds of tons of garbage out of that garbage patch in the Pacific, hey, well done for you guys. Well done. That to me is climate action. That to me is environmentalism in action. Not sitting there and moaning, oh, we need a tax on this. And I'm not dissing the carbon tax credits. If they were going to help the people like that who are making their own initiative and cleaning this stuff up. I am always curious with those garbage trawlers how much krill and plankton that they pick up, because that's a valuable food source. Something I need to research for another day. But that's where we come back to the snow in front of us. Because it's here, now people are reassured. Because in the olden days, like Stone Age, not having a snow early enough means the deer aren't going to come this far south, and we won't be able to trap as effectively. And we need to start going after other things like rabbit, which still makes a good meal from what I understand, but it's not as... It won't stretch as long as a deer will. And I'm just using examples in my area. Everybody has strategies. This is why old people are valuable. This is why we still take care of them, because we might never have seen something in our life before, but they will have, just by the benefit of living longer. So while some of us might panic, oh, the snows are late this year, then they're busy working on picking berries and using them to make pemmican and stuff like that to help the food stretch longer. Yeah, we're not going to get elf steak every night. We're going to get something nutritious for our bellies. And that's why we keep our grandparents and stuff around. Technically, and I hate to say this about grandparents because grandparents are wonderful, technically they are a drain on the resources of the community. But their experience is a net bonus. They can help with a lot of things. They can, unless they're crippled, and even then there's ways to get them around. But it's this survivalist part of our brain, that reptilian part, that panics when it sees anything unusual in the environment. We have managed to couple that experience after decades of documentaries, of announcements, of all sorts of things, with our survival complex. Now, here's the funny part. Even though people panic, oh my God, global warming is coming, despite the fact global warming takes decades or longer, people still don't do anything about it. My old challenge, very simple. Go to your local mall. You don't have to be shopping for anything, or maybe grab a coffee if you want to, whatever floats your boat, and then walk around. What are you going to find? all sorts of trash. And the one that always has amused me are when people leave the trash right beside um, the trash bin. The reason is many years ago, just a little bit after the Stone Age, when Silverlight was a lot younger, he worked cleaning up a parking lot. And what did I see? People driving up to those independent, you know, garbage holders, shoving their stuff through the window. And you know how those garbage bin doors work. They're pretty stiff because they're designed to make seagulls and raccoons go for another target. They would just kind of shove their crap in there, whether it fit or not, and then they'd drive off. Didn't even look to see if it made it in there. I can't tell you how many times I saw that. And these people are the ones probably the most upset by global warming in their personal lives. Well, physician, heal thyself. There is just so much stupidity involved in global warming. We can't control the CO2 gases and all that other stuff coming out, and I don't really think it's productive to try. But as the movement says, think globally, act locally. I know if I throw a McDonald's bag out on my front yard, as you can see, this is a key-shaped street. Know where that bag is going to wind up? On one of the houses that you see. I don't even need to think globally. I'm just being a jerk to my neighbor. And people think, let's pick on Burger King. Don't know why. And people think Burger King, they'll pick it up. Yeah, once upon a time they did. But they do trash sweeps a lot less frequently now. So if you're so worried about garbage and pollution, lend a hand. Global warming does not have to be a thing. Just like population, they figure we're going to equal out around 2050, and then the human population is going to fall. But that doesn't make news. Personally, I'm wondering how the population plateau, is what I'm going to call it, is going to work when we get another planet to work with. Whether it be Mars, whether it be Venus, whether it be Alpha Centauri, whatever it might be, sooner or later, there's going to be another planet for humans to exploit. Might take 5 years, might take 500 years, don't know which. Will the human population stay the same and just be divided? Or what's going to happen? That's an interesting thing I would love to take a look at someday. But right now, the story is simple. Global warming, bad. But it's not really something you need to worry about immediately. Keep your temperature at a reasonable levels. Hey, it's the winter. I understand it's going to get freaking cold. But keep it reasonable. Don't be blasting it to like 25, 26 degrees. Pick up after yourself. Oh my goodness. I can't remember how many times I've said this, but like, what did your mommy tell you when you were leaving the dinner table? Pick up after yourself. Put the dishes in the sink or the dishwasher, whatever you had, whatever level of luxury. And when you're outside, it's not that hard to find the garbage can with your garbage. And there are garbage cans everywhere, even inside parks. So with that, we hope you had a good time listening to the show today. If you enjoyed this show, please click the like button, share, subscribe. Don't forget to click the bell icon down below, just above the comments. And we hope you have a fantastic day.